First, we start with Squidward is depressed. And honestly, this one's not even a theory so much as a clear read of the character. Squidward Tentacles is the adult voice in a sea of chaos. He's miserable at work, creatively stifled, and constantly surrounded by people who don't understand him. His passion for music and art never leads anywhere, and he seems stuck in an endless loop of monotony. While Spongebob sees the world through pure optimism, Squidward experiences it as a reminder of everything he's lost or never had. Fans see him as a tragic, relatable figure, a character built from quiet frustration and lingering dreams. As the show went on, this theory only felt more real. Our next layer is darker. The Krabby Patty secret ingredient theory. Everyone wants to know what's in the famous Krabby Patty, and Mr. Krabs never tells. One of the most popular fan theories is that it's made of crab meat or possibly other fish, implying that Krabs is hiding something. Think about it. Mr. Krabs is the only crab in town. He runs a secretive, wildly popular burger joint. If he's cooking other crabs, that would explain the scarcity of his kind and make his rivalry with plankton even more sinister. There are other ideas too, like the patties being made of plankton or some mutated material. But the crab meat theory is the most chilling, and we all know Mr. Krabs would be willing to do anything for money. Then comes the theory that Mr. Krabs is immortal. It sounds absurd, but the clues are there if you look. First, there's the bizarre fact that Mr. Krabs is one of the only crabs in the entire show, and he never ages. Second, he's incredibly durable. He survives explosions, electrocution, and being crushed, sometimes in the same episode, and always walks it off. Then there's the way he talks about money, like it's older than time itself, hoarding coins like they're sacred relics. Some fans believe he's a cursed sailor from centuries ago, granted eternal life in exchange for greed. He might be protecting the Krabby Patty formula not because it's valuable, but because it's the source of his power. However, this theory could ultimately come down to the fact that this is a cartoon. Next up is the chum is fish theory. In real life, chum is made from ground up fish used as bait, and Plankton's restaurant is literally called the Chum Bucket. That means he's serving fish parts to fish. Whether he knows it or not, it paints the Chum Bucket as a place of very suspicious food. Maybe that's why nobody eats there. Plankton's failure isn't just due to bad marketing. It could be that his product is morally horrifying.
There's even a disturbing implication that plankton, a small organism, is trying to pass off bigger species as food to his neighbors. It's a quiet background horror that no one in the show seems to question, and that somehow makes it worse. Now we hit the Bikini Atoll theory, which connects SpongeBob to real-world nuclear testing. Bikini Bottom is supposedly located underneath Bikini Atoll, an island used by the US for nuclear bomb testing in the mid-20th century. The theory suggests that the characters are mutated sea creatures, the result of radiation exposure, which would explain why they talk, build cities, and live like humans. It also reframes the surreal tone of the show as something more post-apocalyptic. You're not just watching a cartoon, you're watching a society of irradiated beings living in the ruins of a scientific disaster. Even the name Bikini Bottom feels too intentional to ignore. It's the kind of detail that turns SpongeBob from a goofy kid show into something way darker. Then comes the 7 Deadly Sins theory, a classic that tries to explain each main character as a representation of one of the cardinal vices. It fits surprisingly well. Hear it out. SpongeBob is lust, not in a romantic sense, but in his overwhelming enthusiasm and obsessive friendliness. Patrick is sloth, the sin of laziness. He literally does nothing, lives under a rock, and thrives in it. Squidward embodies wrath, always annoyed, angry, snapping at the smallest disruptions, and displaying his wrath to his coworkers. Mr. Krabs is textbook greed, valuing profit over anything else. Plankton is envy, spending his entire life trying to steal what Krabs has. Sandy represents pride. She's brilliant, confident, and constantly asserting her Texan superiority. And Gary, surprisingly, is gluttony, a pet who's often seen scarfing food, meowing for snacks, or sitting comfortably in excess. It might be coincidental, but it's suspiciously perfect and might be my favorite theory. Then comes the Patrick is evil theory, and it's all based on one unsettling pattern. Throughout the show, whenever Mermaid Man is around Patrick, he suddenly becomes visibly distressed, muttering about the presence of evil. He yells evil repeatedly, hides, shakes, or breaks into a panic, and every time, Patrick just happens to be nearby. This has led fans to speculate that Mermaid Man recognizes Patrick as some kind of villain from his past. Maybe Patrick is unknowingly a former nemesis, or worse, he's faking everything and hiding in plain sight. The fact that Mermaid Man's instincts are triggered by Patrick so consistently makes the idea hard to ignore. Whether it's repressed memory or disguised menace, something about Patrick sets off the alarms of a man who used to fight evil for a living. At the very bottom of the iceberg, we arrive at the skin theory. This is where everything changes. The idea is that in Bikini Bottom, it's normal for characters to wear realistic suits of other characters, even their own kind, and no one seems to question it. There are many strange moments, such as when Squidward wears a salmon costume that looks like skinned meat. And in one of the strangest scenes of the whole show, Patrick wears a gorilla suit, but then another Patrick appears. One of them unzips, revealing a gorilla in a Patrick costume. Then the gorilla breaks the fourth wall, speaks directly to the camera, and escapes on the back of a zebra. No explanation, just chaos. That's the heart of skin theory. In Bikini Bottom, identity isn't fixed. Your body is more like an outfit. What looks like flesh might be fake. Nobody notices, because that's just how this world works. And once you start noticing it, you can't stop.